In a vibrant African village, a young girl with an insatiable appetite faces teasing and shame. But a single act of kindness changes her destiny forever. Join us to discover how this magical encounter unfolds. In a lively African village nestled among gentle hills and abundant greenery lived a young girl. Named she was a beautiful child with dark curly hair framing her sweet face and eyes that shone like morning dew. Her joyful laughter filled the village air, however, had an immense appetite that never seemed to be satisfied from morning. Until night her stomach rumbled with hunger. She ate every meal with great enthusiasm, leaving her parents Papa and Mom confused and worried. Despite their efforts, Papa and Mama couldn't understand their daughter's constant hunger. They prepared delicious meals with fresh ingredients from their garden, but's appetite remained unfulfilled. As time passed, the village children began to gossip. They would point, giggle, and tease whenever she passed by calling her hungry. She tried to ignore their taunts, but their words hurt her deeply, and she became self-conscious about her constant hunger. The teasing became unbearable, so stopped going to school. Preferring to stay home where she could eat in peace, Papa and Mama watched with heavy hearts as their daughter's once bright spirit began to fade. Once a year, the villagers celebrated the New Yam Festival, a cherished tradition that brought the community together in joy and unity. As the festival approached, excitement filled the village. People prepared by decorating the streets with colorful decorations and filling the air with the tempting smells of cooking yams and palm oil. Papa, Mama, and eagerly looked forward to the festivities. They spent days planning their outfits and discussing the delicious treats they would enjoy at the festival. Little did they know that their excitement would soon be overshadowed by a moment of embarrassment and dismay. On the morning of the festival, the village awoke to the sound of drums and joyful laughter. Papa and Mama led toward the central square, their hearts full of anticipation as they joined the crowds heading to the grand arena. As they approached the royal table adorned with gold and filled with platters of fresh yams and glistening palm, while a hush fell over the crowd, all eyes turned to the king, who would soon partake in the ceremonial feast, marking the beginning of the festival. But as the villagers waited, a sudden commotion broke out. Nearby gasps of shock and disbelief filled the air as the crowd turned to see what had caused the disturbance. To their astonishment, they saw Little standing before the royal table, her hands full of yams and her mouth stuffed with palm oil. Papa and Mama froze in disbelief, their faces turning red with embarrassment as they realized what had happened. Oblivious to the shocked stares and disapproving murmurs continued to devour the feast. Unaware of the gravity of her actions, the village elders looked on in horror, whispering about the unthinkable offense that had occurred. It was a sacred tradition that the king must eat the first yam before anyone else, and for a child to defy this custom was unheard of. As the realization of his actions sunk in, a wave of unease swept through the crowd, casting a shadow over the joyous occasion. The festive atmosphere had been shattered, replaced by a palpable sense of discomfort and dismay. Papa and Mama rushed forward, their faces flushed with shame as they tried to pull away from the table, but it was too late. The damage had been done, and the consequences of this impulsive act would be felt throughout the village for years to come. The villagers whispered about its audacity and the disgrace she had brought upon her family. Papa and Mama hung their heads in shame, humiliated by their daughter's reckless behavior. But amidst the chaos, one thing remained clear. His insatiable appetite had once again led her astray, casting a shadow over the sacred traditions of the New Yam Festival and tarnishing her family's reputation. As they awaited the king's judgment, the villagers held their breath, fearing the worst for Little and her parents. They whispered about the punishment that awaited the family for this unprecedented breach of tradition. To their surprise, when the king finally spoke, his voice was filled with unexpected kindness and understanding. He acknowledged youth and the innocence of her actions, emphasizing that she was just a child who had yet to learn the ways of the world. People of the village, the king declared, his words echoing across the square. While it is true that actions were a breach of tradition, we must remember that she is but a little child. It is the duty of her parents to guide and supervise her, especially in matters such as these. The crowd listened in stunned silence as the king continued, his tone gentle yet firm. Mama and Papa, he addressed them directly, you must take responsibility for your daughter's actions. It is your duty to ensure her well-being and discipline her when necessary in the future. I advise you to leave her at home when attending important occasions such as this. The villagers watched in amazement as the king's words sank in. Never before had they witnessed such compassion and wisdom from their ruler. Some wiped away tears of relief, while others murmured words of gratitude for the king's merciful judgment. Mama and Papa, overcome with shame and embarrassment, bowed their heads in acknowledgement of the king's decree. Silently, they gathered their daughter and made their way home, their hearts heavy with the weight of their folly. As they walked, the villagers' whispers followed them, filled with pity and reproach. They shook their heads in disappointment, casting judgmental glances at the family. As they passed by, Mama and Papa, burdened by their daughter's actions, scolded her. With harsh words and stern warnings, they berated her for her recklessness, reminding her of the shame she had brought upon their family. But amidst the scolding, a seed of gratitude began to take root in their hearts. Though they had been humiliated by their daughter's actions, they were also grateful for the king's unexpected leniency and understanding. And so as they returned home, Mama and Papa vowed to heed the king's words and take greater care in guiding and supervising their daughter, for they knew that whilst insatiable appetite may have led her astray on this occasion, it was their love and guidance that would ultimately shape her into the woman she was meant to be. As grew older, her appetite only seemed to worsen, leaving her parents at a loss for how to help their beloved daughter. Desperate for a solution, they turned to the village witch doctors, hoping for a cure to endless hunger. One by one, they visited the witch doctors, seeking their guidance and wisdom. But despite their best efforts, none could offer a solution to this affliction. Family's desperation grew as condition deteriorated, her once slender frame expanding with each passing day. As size continued to increase, whispers spread throughout the village. Fueled by gossip and superstition, some villagers speculated that the family had been cursed, their misfortune a punishment for Papa's success with his crops. Others whispered that herself was cursed, her insatiable appetite, a sign of dark forces at work. The weight of the rumors and accusations weighed heavily on his heart, casting a shadow over her already troubled soul. She longed to be free from the shackles of her affliction, to reclaim her life and her dignity. But as the years passed and grew older, the burden of her obesity became too much to bear. She struggled to walk, her movements slow, and labored simple tasks, such as running and doing chores, became impossible, leaving feeling helpless and trapped by her own body. Her parents, once hopeful for a cure, now watched helplessly as their daughter's condition worsened. They blamed themselves for failing to find a solution, haunted by the knowledge that their beloved was suffering because of their inability to help her. And so, as the world grew darker with each passing day, she found herself grappling with the ugly truth of her condition. No longer could she ignore the toll that her obesity was taking on her body and her spirit. She longed for a way to break free from the prison of her own flesh, to reclaim her life and her happiness once and for all. One day went to the river alone to fetch water. Alone by the riverside, spotted a huge fish flapping about, not in the water, but on the bank. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the river's surface as approached the stranded fish. Her stomach growled at the thought of a hearty meal, and she couldn't help but imagine the savory dishes she could prepare with the fish. But as she reached out to grab it, a voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of the importance of kindness and compassion. Hesitated, her hands hovering uncertainly above the fish. Despite her hunger, she couldn't bring herself to harm the helpless creature. Instead, she knelt down beside the fish and gently scooped it up in her arms. Its scales shimmered in the sunlight, its eyes wide with fear. Felt a pang of guilt wash over her as she realized the fear she had caused the fish. With a sigh, made her way back to the water's edge, her heart heavy with the weight of her decision. As she approached the riverbank, she felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. It was as if a guiding hand was leading her, urging her to do what was right. Just as she reached the water's edge, a voice broke through the silence, causing to startle in surprise. Turning around, she beheld a vision unlike anything she had ever seen. A mermaid rising from the depths of the river, her long hair flowing like ribbons of silk in the breeze. The mermaid spoke, her voice soft and melodious. "You have shown great kindness in saving my son from harm. For this, I wish to reward you." Eyes widened in astonishment as the mermaid reached out a hand, offering her a small shimmering stone. "Place this stone under your pillow tonight," the mermaid instructed, "and await the magic that will unfold." With a sense of wonder and trepidation, accepted the stone, her heart racing with excitement. She knew she must keep this encounter a secret, as the mermaid had commanded, but the temptation to share her extraordinary experience with her parents burned within her as the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness enveloped the village. Nestled the stone beneath her pillow and closed her eyes, her mind buzzing with anticipation. And as she drifted off to sleep, she could feel the weight of the mermaid's gift pressing against her dreams, promising a future filled with hope and possibility. When woke up the next day, she was astonished to find herself transformed into a stunningly beautiful woman. Her parents were equally amazed and overjoyed, listening in awe as recounted her encounter with the mermaid and the magical gift she had received. Filled with gratitude to their ancestors for this miraculous transformation, the family rejoiced, their hearts brimming with happiness and hope for the future. Wasted no time in sharing her newfound beauty with the villagers. Venturing into the village square, where she was met with gasps of astonishment and admiration, though some struggled to recognize her in her new form, graciously introduced herself, her radiant smile lighting up the faces of those around her. The villagers rejoiced at transformation, celebrating the beauty and grace that had blossomed within her. As the years passed, his beauty and kindness only grew, capturing the heart of the prince himself. Their marriage was a grand affair celebrated with pomp and splendor, marking the beginning of a new chapter of happiness and prosperity for and her family. And So's tale serves as a testament to the power of kindness, compassion, and the magic that lies within each of us. May her story inspire us all to believe in the extraordinary possibilities that await when we open our hearts to the wonders of the world. What part of this magical journey resonated with you the most? Comment below and let's discuss.